Yes, good morning officers. Time for today's current affairs videos, 9th August 2025. Let's have a quick glance at what are the topics we are going to cover today. 5 major topics are there. Let's have a quick glance. First, Center Clear Scheme for Technical Education. First topic. Next, ethanol blending issue. Second topic. Next, Irish Foreign Minister, Indian community members. These are all racial attacks. Social justice, very important. Next, Germany suspends arms exports to Israel. EU, UK urge for Gaza ceasefire, very common issue. Next, railways mounting vigil on errand staff to curb insider role in sabotage for train accidents. So, train accidents issues. So, let's go for the first topic. Center clears key schemes for technical education. Technical education, key schemes. Let's have a quick glance at what are the important statistics which are very important. What is MERIT, Maritime? It is nothing but multidisciplinary education research improvement in technical education in a central sector scheme. Very, very important for prelims. Next, what is the target? What it does? 175 engineering institutes plus 100 polytechnic colleges is the target. Budget 4,200 crores. Funding is 2,100 crores as a World Bank loan. So that is a very important point. So these are all the statistics with respect to that particular article. Now, how it will be implemented? So the how part. 175 institutions they have targeted. Concept is digitization strategies for states and UTs. Example, AI-driven smart classes, IITs, online skill labs and polytechnics. These are the how they want to do that. Okay, digitization. దీనివల్ల ఏమైందంటే multidisciplinary courses. Example, integrating AI with respect to mechanical engineering, renewable energy modules in electrical engineering. దానివల్ల ఏమవుతుంది? Because of these, this will lead to research more, innovation more, and governance also will be very beautiful. Setting up innovation hubs and patent facilitation cells in NITs. So this is how they want to do this. Next, why should we do this? So the why part. First, quality will improve, equity will improve, and governance in technical education is also going to improve. Skill gap భయంకరంగా తగ్గిపోతుంది. దానివల్ల polytechnic sectors and engineering మధ్యన skill gap తగ్గడం వల్ల more workforce will come. So both these things finally will lead to more quality workforce. So, and we have to align this with global best practices and industry. So we'll have more quality skilled labor. Danvalla money productivity will increase. More paisa for the economy and GDP, everything will also going to increase. So what will be the impacts on India if we do this? Research output will increase, innovation in STEM fields will increase, that is science, technology, engineering and medicine. Employability will increase, industry readiness also will be ready. So these are the plus points. Danvalla multidisciplinary learning for future channels also is a very good thing, positive point. And global competitiveness will also increase with respect to Indian companies, and human capital will be ready. Danvalla overall Indian economy will grow. That is the whole essence. Now, what is the strategic importance of this? So strategy. Skill India program will increase, Digital India visions will also increase. World Bank collaboration, which is a very, very important part for financial as well as technical expertise. So transition rates of students into jobs, higher education, jobs and higher education will increase. And finally, it will become a technication hub in the globe. So that is the whole point. So these are the advantages and targets with respect to this particular article. The next article is about ethanol blending. Let's have a quick glance at ethanol blending. Already we have done a video on this, please check it out. First, government stand on ethanol blending. Vilification campaign, very important by vested interests. So dismissed efficiency. Ethanol, you know, C2H5OH acts as an oxygenate. That means it provides oxygen, enabling more complete and combustion and lowering carbon monoxide emissions. So this is a major point. So this is the best point of this whole thing. Ethanol, what is the use of it? Now, for example, if you take E10 fuel, which has only 10% ethanol and 90% petrol, it wide use across. So petrol is being used more, therefore carbon monoxide release will be more. But once it is blended with ethanol, 10%, that ratio they want to change so that climate effects and targets will be reached. So similar parallels with compressed biogas introduction, similar resistance faced during launch of compressed CBG launches, number same thing they did. So emphasis will be on agriculture, biomass and farmers as food, annadata, and energy which is urjadata. So this is a target. దానివల్ల ఏమవుతుందంటే ఎనరోబిక్ Aerobic means with oxygen, anaerobic means without oxygen. Digestion of biomass products, methane-rich biogas will be completely digested. That is the advantage. So, దీనికి ఉన్న similar program ఏంటిది? Govardhan scheme to converting cattle dung into CBG. So the target is that. So they want this to be done. So without actually artificially producing it, they want to use gobar and dhan. That means money. You convert gobar into methane. So a lot of new things are happening. Even in China and Japan, what they are doing is the human feces which is released in your bathrooms. They're all connected, and methane gas is being collected and utilized to production of electricity. That is a new thing. So that is a very beautiful point. So similarly, we can also convert gobar, okay, into dhan. That is the whole point. So multi-ministerial support should be there. Transport Minister backed ethanol blending for sustainable mobility. High octane rating of ethanol 108 improves engine performance. That is the best point for EV vehicles and all that. And danvalla reduces knocking. This is a very good point. For example, if you take E20 fuel targeted nationwide road by 2025. Currently it is E10. E20 means 20% ethanol and 80% petrol. That is the whole point. That means E20 fuel, 20% ethanol plus 80% petrol. Slowly they'll reduce the petrol thing because that is the logic behind it. So for this, full ministerial support is also there. So industry backing for ethanol blending, Indian Sugar and Bioenergy Manufacturing Association, scientifically validated, globally proven, so no problem. Fermentation of sugarcane juice is the most important point. Therefore, sugarcane is very important. Molasses by yeast followed by distillation process and produces ethanol. So this is ethanol production. So example is Brazil already has done this. Flex fuel vehicles run under E85, where 85% is ethanol, plus only 15% petrol. So if Brazil, which is a very, very smaller country in comparison to India, if they are able to produce E85, India is still an E10. So it should be converted to E85, E90 and finally pure ethanol can be used. But the only problem is sugarcane. That is the whole problem. So farmers, farmers welfare good about them because those are putting sugar and sugarcane products, they will be hugely benefited. Boost demand for crops like sugarcane and maize, very, very important. And rural incomes increase out there. This is an advantage, positive advantage. Next, life cycle assessment shows lower net carbon dioxide emissions, which is a very good point, and leads to carbon sequestration. So sequestration is where carbon dioxide is completely pulled out and the greenhouse gases which are released, they will be completely compressed. 1 liter ethanol reduces carbon dioxide by 1.5 kg per petrol. That is the example you can give. So this is statistics. Experimental evidence. If you take 1 liter ethanol, reduces carbon dioxide emissions by 1.5 kg for every petrol. That is the whole point. Next. Iran Foreign Minister to meet Indian community members amid attacks. You know that there are a lot of racial attacks. Even on a 6-year-old, they did the attack. So what is the issue? So global racial conscience is increasing, which is very bad. So let's look at what are the points. First, violence against Indian community. Alarming search, even on a 6-year-old they have done. Indiscriminate targeting, prompting urgent diplomatic concern. So xenophobic. Xenophobic means fear of foreigners. So Indians become foreigners in Ireland, therefore they are very afraid. That is called xenophobia. And racist sentiment is also increasing. Xenophobia is also increasing. So that's another point. Fear among Indian diaspora and community relations, and pressurizes law enforcement for fifth action. That is the effect of it. Next, strong diplomatic response should be given. Irish foreigners have an arrest to meet Indian community. Ireland public assurances were given. Indian contributions because of Ireland for Irish society, and zero tolerance towards racism is what the foreign minister said. So we should go on rebuilding trust. Projects like Ireland's commitment to diversity and negative perception should reduce. Reassures Indian diaspora, which is a good point. Improves Ireland's global image, and bilateral ties with India should also increase. So coordinated embassy engagement. Dublin, Indian embassy in Dublin. Dublin is capital of Ireland, and New Delhi, they should do some nice talking. Diplomatic channels activated to convey concerns. Designated to protect Indian nationals, maintain diplomatic pressure and ensure follow-up. Signal seriousness of the issue internationally, mobilizes Irish government to act decisively. Because the whole world is watching Ireland right now. So core concepts involved is equality and human dignity. Ireland reiterates these foundational things, framing attacks and violation. Racism and xenophobia is another issue. Equality and human dignity is another issue. And diplomatic protection of national, very important, because a lot of Irish people have gone there and settled down there for a long time. So fundamentally they have they get their passports, they are Irishized, so they are proper Irish citizens but of Indian origin. So all these things have to be taken care for safeguarding overseas citizens, and India-Ireland relations should actually improve a lot. So broader implications: crisis with influence, bilateral goodwill, quick police action must be taken, public condemnations, strengthen ties. Migrant safety is very important, key factor in bilateral engagement and people relations. Positive handlings could deepen cooperation, failure. Friction, reduce trust in Ireland as a safe destination. So finally, if something like this happens, Ireland's economy will go down, bilateral relations will spoil, and finally people will come back to India and Ireland economy will go down. That's a big problem that Irish government has to take care of it. Next, Germany suspends some arms exports to Israel, UK and all these fellows. So why? Basically, arms trade in diplomatic pressure to signal that continued escalation could weaken alliances. Suspension impacts defense manufacturing contracts and Israel's procurement pipeline, slowing defense related. So this will be the effect. So what happens is business, arms business to Israel reduces drastically for Israel. So Germany was the reason why, how they were anti-Jews and all that stuff. Now today they are doing business with them. Now suddenly they reduced it so that Israel will stop attacking Gaza. That's the whole logic behind it. So దీనివల్ల Germany's historical obligation with Israel and its EU role దానికి balance చేసినట్టు, human rights advocate చేసినట్టు, addressing domestic pro-Palestine pressure which is there from Germany. That is the whole point, because they are all anti-Jew. Right. EU and UK diplomatic pressure ఎట్లా చూద్దాం. Public statements with private negotiations, ceasefire framework ఒకటి తయారు చేస్తున్నారు to stop the attacks of Israel on Gaza. So Gaza supports Mediterranean trade routes and avoids oil spikes harmful to European economies. ఇది ఎందుకు చేస్తున్నారు బేసికల్గా? EU and UK వీళ్ళందరికీ ఇష్యూ ఏంటిది? Oil price. So it is all about oil price. For oil price, which country is very important? Gaza is very important, because from Gaza only the oil routes will start. So trade routes effect అయితే అందుకే EU UK కలిసి గాజాని ఇప్పుడు ఏం డిస్టర్బ్ చేద్దాం, మా మనం తీసుకుంటున్నామని చెప్తున్నారు. దానివల్ల EU UK సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఇమేజ్ పెరుగుతుంది అండ్ మిడిల్ ఈస్ట్ హ్యూమానిటేరియన్ క్రైసిస్ కూడా వాళ్ళు చూసుకుంటారు దానివల్ల. సో మిడిల్ ఈస్ట్ అండ్ ఆల్ దీస్ కంట్రీస్ ఇప్పుడు వాళ్ళకి మొత్తం బిజినెస్ అంతా EU UK వెళ్తుంది కాబట్టి EU UK వాళ్ళు ట్రేడ్ రూట్స్లో గాజా ఉంది కాబట్టి ఇజ్రాయెల్ని అటాక్ చేయకుండా అని చెప్పి బేసికల్గా ప్రో పాలెస్టైన్ టాక్ ఇస్ గోయింగ్ ఆన్. సో హ్యూమానిటేరియన్ లీగల్ కన్సర్న్స్ ఆర్ ఇంటర్నేషనల్ లా లాంగ్వేజ్ ఇస్ గాన్, sanctions are not being followed, shaping the context legal framing. This will lead to genocide. Lot of people being dead. I have done a video on this. Please check this genocide video done. So Israel's foreign investment climate మొత్తం ఖతం అయిపోతుంది. EU leaders as moral guardians, strengthening credibility in global south nations. అది వాళ్ళ స్ట్రాటజీ. దానివల్ల మళ్ళీ వాళ్ళ బిజినెస్ పికప్ అవుతుంది. So Israel's strategic move into military administrative control over Gaza city, that is the overall plan. Urban centers and supply chain, allows regulation of imports, reconstruction contracts and resource distribution within Gaza. That is the target of Israel. Danwalla Netanyahu's domestic security narrative will increase, but civilian casualties will rise. That is the whole problem. So both are in one way good for India, one way bad for India, because civilian issues vaste chaala mandi chachipotunnaru. Next, conditional ceasefire debate going on currently. Release hostage with Hamas, halting hostilities. Stable ceasefire can open pathways for reconstruction aid and infrastructure investment in Gaza. If this is done, this is by global bodies. So pro-Israel and pro-Palestine blocs domestically and internationally, Germany ni cheyadaniki avutundi, but you know that Germany has been anti-Israel for a long time. Okay, Holocaust and all that stuff. So all these things finally will lead to a balanced state and a two-nation theory. So this kind of things will lead to two-nation or two-state theories. Finally, they will bring down to this situation and make sure that their business interests are not lost. Next, railways mounts vigil on errant curb. Train accidents have been happening. So they have found out that it is all because of internal people within railways who are trying to disturb the railway tracks and signaling systems. Danwala, lot of deaths and all that for basically contracts. So let's look at this point. Intensified monitoring of all employees and undesirable activities. Commissioner of Railway CRS, insider sabotage, very important. So railway security management system being updated across all zonal railways. What is the context? Final report on 11th October, Kawaripetai collision where sabotage was involved. So 12 lakh employees make IR the largest international transporter, complexity of vigilance becomes very, very difficult. Next, intelligence security, special intelligence branch of railway protection tasked with this. Protective measures, scenario-based training, mock drills, deployment of special reduction teams is what they are doing. What are the policy recommendations from this? Reduce contractual staff ni tagginchukovali, exposure to maintenance and safety systems, long-term review of engagement process, safety critical functions must be enhanced so that these kind of railway sabotages don't happen. So current actions, Bagmati Express sabotage case under Government Railway Police investigation, vulnerable areas identified, CCTV installation underway for constant surveillance cheyadaniki. These are the paths that they are taking. So these are all the points for today. So please go through the video. Star marks and underline points are very important. That's all for today. Shamant Padikula signing off. Bye-bye.